No. No, absolutely not. Sir, you do not record anything in this court.
Understand?
The court, this is, listen to me please, this is a confidential court. Unless you have business here, you are excused.
I am actually have been retained by Mr. French. I am in,
You're not an attorney.
no, but I am press.
Sir, press is not relevant here, sir. You may step out of the courtroom.
Is that under threat of arrest?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm going to exercise my First Amendment right as a member of
You
the
don't
press.
have a First Amendment right in a confidential court. So, if you would like to go into custody today, I can help
So,
you with
it
that.
is under threat of arrest.
If you would like to go into custody today, I will be happy to help you with that. I have asked for you to leave my courtroom because the only people who can be retained in this court are attorneys. I'm asking you to leave my courtroom. You have 5 seconds in which to do so.
Okay, I will leave your courtroom under threat of
You
arrest.
will be going into custody.
I will leave your courtroom under threat of arrest. Thank you.
Have a blessed day.
Today, we're going to talk about the Kyle French trial, and we're going to go over some of the Harris County judges' conduct. Tonight, I have a few guests. If some of y'all that don't know me, my name is George Saldana. I'm with Texas Team 2503. And my good buddy, Kyle French, was locked up a few days ago. And Kyle and I were in the trenches in the Harris County family courts. And I brought some of the people that were with him when he got locked up. And we want to talk about it because the things that these Harris County judges are doing is a flagrant violation of just human decency rights. And I want these other parents that are advocating with Kyle to be heard, because we all hear it from myself and a few others that are willing to talk about the corruption in Harris County. Tonight, we have Dave Parker, Kyle Freimeier, and a few others that we're going to let them introduce themselves. But first, tonight, I want to start off with Alicia. Now, she's a little timid guy, so she's not into the whole vlog and Zoom and stuff like that. But I want her to talk and tell the people about Kyle. If y'all don't know, this is Kyle French's significant other. They are a blended family. They have children. Kyle has some stepchildren, and she can verify how Kyle is with his daughter. And these family court judges are taking good fathers away from their children. Some of y'all don't know that we know behind the scenes is that Kyle was supposed to take his daughter to her first father-daughter dance on Friday. And Judge Curvey in the 280th really messed that up. So now a little girl is going to go fatherless to her father-daughter dance. And that's, to me, unacceptable. So let me hear from you guys. I mean, I wasn't there, and there's videos going around, there's recordings going around about Judge Curvey just violating people. And to me, in just my thoughts are that if the judge doesn't know the very basics of the Constitution and the laws that the public owns that courtroom, and when she threatens arrest, if she doesn't know that very basic stuff, how is she able to make these other decisions that ultimately are going to hurt a little girl? These attorneys are weaponizing their legal skills to remove parents from their children. And I get irritated. I mean, I'm an advocate and I get irritated, but I want y'all to hear their story. I want y'all to hear from them because y'all hear from me all the time. So I'll go ahead and give it to Alicia. You're going to have to take it off mute.
Before we get started, she wants to know, are we allowed to use names on your podcast, or is that like taboo?
No, go ahead. You do whatever you want.
I don't want to get.
No,
I don't want
It's their
to
rules.
incriminate or get.
If that's how you feel, you do to the best of your ability. If you don't want to name names, that's fine. You tell us what you want us to know about Kyle.
Kyle is a great father. He's a wonderful father. I see him with his daughter all the time. He, takes her places and he's always playing with her, and, they have a swing. He's actually in the process of building a tree house in the back. And he's also great with my boys. My boys really, they really like Kyle a lot. He's great.
How old are your boys?
16 and 19.
16 and 19-year-olds that like their stepdad.
They love him. They love him. They're my 16-year-old keeps asking when he's coming home. My 18-year-old is going off to the Air Force soon, and he doesn't want to go off to the Air Force without saying goodbye. He wants to see him. He doesn't, and of course, about the daddy-daughter dance. He was deprived from that because of somebody who's.
You can only describe her as malicious evil.
Selfish.
No. I'm talking about Judge Kirby.
Church. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Judge Kirby is malicious evil, in my opinion.
Much.
And we've been documenting it. We know a lot of people think that Kyle and I are just we're just menaces to the judicial system. And I'll tell you right now, Kyle has been to my hearings, and anybody that's watching, you never go to family court alone. Ever.
Right. Of course. No.
Never. And you're not even in family court. And I know you've been there, and they put handcuffs on you. Is that correct? The
Yes.
bailiffs? The bailiffs put handcuffs on you. What were you doing that they decided to handcuff you?
I did. They said I was recording.
But you were in the cafeteria.
Exactly. We were just sitting there, and they came in and put handcuffs on us.
Who did they? What do you mean us? Who?
Me, Kyle, and Michael.
So y'all were sitting in the court. In the court cafeteria in the Harris County courts in 201 Caroline, and bailiffs just came up and locked y'all up, huh? Just put handcuffs on.
Yeah.
And what crime did y'all do?
All he did was take a cake up there. That's it.
Nothing illegal.
Right.
Nothing
and
illegal.
They checked us at there. They,
So because y'all took a cake, y'all were handcuffed, all three of you. How long did they detain you?
I can't remember. Right now, I'm just, honestly, I am running. I haven't really slept in 2 days. So.
Yeah. So it does take a toll on you, right?
Yes, it does.
It's taking a toll on your family.
Yeah, of course.
It's taking a toll of your provider as well.
Exactly. Yes.
Now, before, and we're not necessarily trying to get into the merits of the case, and I don't want to get into the merits of the case. I want the people to know the type of man Kyle French is, the guy that they're saying is an abusive character. You know, these attorneys demanding attorney fees from people that can barely make it, that scrape by.
They're just mad because he speaks the truth. They don't like to hear the truth.
No, they don't. They don't.
That's their problem with him.
Dave, did you go?
Oh, yes, I went. I went in official capacity as a member of the press, the NPPA. I rolled
Okay.
up. I had a vest on. I had a GoPro. I knew that I had gotten there too late because it was a short notice for me, and I accepted it. So I know that I didn't have time to fill out the paperwork. So as I was going in, I was letting everybody know that I was not going to be recording the courtroom. I was strictly focusing on recordings and interviews out in the hallway, and that when I was in the courtroom, I wasn't going to be doing any kind of recording at all. That was okay all the way up until we walked in. When we walked in, it was interesting. The bailiffs directed court watchers to sit towards the back of the court. Me not being a court watcher, being a member of the press, I moved forward a couple benches. I looked back to see the court watchers, and I was shocked to see about 13 to 14 African Americans all lined up against the back of the bench. And there was only 4 people in the rest of the courtroom, not including Kyle, his attorney, and opposing counsel, and her client.
How many bailiffs were there?
At first, there was, I believe, 3. But then when I was removed, they brought in another 6.
So they had 9 bailiffs there?
All in full kit.
They had 9 bailiffs there.
Yes. No, they were more like officers. These guys were in full kit.
Yeah.
They had flak vac, bulletproof vest on. They had their SIGs at their side, everything.
Kevin,
Full
Kevin,
kit.
you see all of this, Kevin?
Yes, I did.
That's a little extreme, right? 9 bailiffs?
Well, after Kirby told him to go or he'll get arrested, and then she said what she said to everybody else. Once we went out, 6 of them came. It's a little extreme and intimidating on their part.
I mean, you don't even see 6 or 9 bailiffs in criminal courts. You know, you don't see that many bailiffs. It's 1 bailiff per court, but that's the pattern that we're seeing, is that when these court observers go to these courts to observe their government in action, the intimidation factors come in. 6, 9 bailiffs, a SWAT team, right? For what?
You know what even makes it more crazy?
What?
Most of those court watchers were part of a religious organization. I spoke to several of them. They were reverends, they were pastors, and they were there as a silent protest to like family court reform. They weren't a danger to anybody.
No.
There was no reason to send in that kind of force.
That's
So
true.
Curvey brought in the SWAT team for a church,
Yeah.
for the church,
Yep.
and then she put him in the back with not even a good row front seat.
Great.
Well, the whole court put everybody in the back row. We couldn't pick no seats. I had to sign in. I had to give him a name just to get in the court.
Hey, we have Chev. I hope I pronounced it right. Chev showed up. I kind of met him over the phone because I saw a video, and I was like, "Who is that guy?" I was like, "I know all of Kyle's friends, at least most of them, anyway." And so we had an interesting conversation, but I want him to explain what he saw.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. Man, so to me, there's such an underlying ordinary injustice, right? I mean, the First Amendment, I've got religious liberties. I've got more than just the freedom of speech. You know, I've also got the freedom to petition the government for redress services. You know what I mean? For grievances. And so when we get to these intellectual years in our 30s, we should not even imagine a courtroom where the public is not welcome. So as I was the last person to arrive for court, I found it so abusive and harmful. And it was really scary for Kyle because this judge was in such violation of what the Constitution said. She was in such violation of the Ninth Amendment, the 10th Amendment. She's saying there's no freedom of press in a confidential court. you know, like, tell that to Donald Trump or somebody else. You know, the fact that the complainant gets on stand and addresses an evidentiary alarm, and the judge not keep her American jurisprudence oath, I thought was the most disgusting behavior. I walk in the court and I'm immediately within 3 seconds ordered to strip off my jacket and my hat and sit in the back. And I turned to the judge and I said, wait, Judge. Where's all that? I said something like, where's all that coming from? You know, like you don't have any authority over my own volition. I've got a First Amendment right to travel freely and unencumbered. And I merely just walked in here. I haven't done anything wrong. I haven't committed any crimes. Again, a crime is defined as an occurrence with an injury, an injured party, or disruption of the public peace. So if we're having to walk into court and identify ourselves and strip to our bare minimums while it's raining out fucking side, this is not just a denial of the First Amendment, but it's a clear fuck you to the Fourth Amendment. Because I have a protection against unreasonable searches and seizures. I only have to furnish my identity if I've committed a crime, or I've disrupted the public peace and I need to be identified. And so, what if I was traveling and I was simply, you know, think about the behavior of this judge. I feel for Kyle. The community that we had in there. I feel for us as we continue to stand up for our constitutional rights, not only in family court, but also in criminal court and civil court as well.
But you know, and this is my thought. My thought is, look, if you don't know the very, 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 very basics, right? That's the very basic, right? Open courts are for the public access, and even in the Zooms, that's taxpayer funded, and they don't let the taxpayers use it because they want to close it out. And so that's something that Kyle and I and others have seen. Kevin has been along at some of these
Open
hearings.
Courts Act.
Yeah, the open courts, they know what they're doing, and they're trying to intimidate us when we come in, and we're not even like violent criminals. We are trying to be a parent to our child, right? And we're exposing their lawyer tricks. We're exposing the ex parte communications. I mean, we're seeing it now. We're recording it. We're documenting it. And then now you have judges telling the public, if you don't leave in 5 seconds, you're going to be arrested for coming into this confidential hearing. The family code clearly says what to do. And I'm not going to tell them where to find it if she doesn't know. She doesn't know the Constitution. She doesn't know the family code where it says that the court shall remain open. I mean, these are just flagrant. I mean, she has an iPad. You have an iPhone or an Android. You have a computer. You have so many resources at your disposal that you can go and look the information up. You know, I'm sure those judges have a staff attorney that, hey, you know what? We keep the press out. No, you can't. Oh, damn. All right. It's that easy. But when
George, I don't mean to cut your wisdom, brother, but it's such a clear violation. You know what I'm saying? Like, where does it turn from civil involvement to criminal charges without any reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime? No articulable facts of a crime. So why am I being threatened with a visit to the Harris County Jail?
So they threatened you, right?
Yeah, this is the nature of the judges.
So I mean, how did they threaten you?
She's like, get him out of my courtroom, get him out of my courtroom, or he's going to jail for contempt. Did you hear that, Kevin? Did you hear that, Daddy?
Did y'all
Did you
hear
hear
that?
that? Alicia,
Kevin?
you were outside, right? I mean, she's just like, get him out of my courtroom. I'm like, I haven't even done anything. I just walked in here. And obviously, you know, other counterparts in the audience are used to being silent in the face of injustice. So they're just like, oh, you know, so sorry it's you, and not realizing the impact even of such behavior. A judge doesn't even have that authority. Not even a district judge doesn't have that authority. She's not the authority. The Supreme Court justices or the appellate justices are the authority, not a district judge elected by 250,000 voters of a million in a county. You need to stick to your oath and your constitution, especially in family court. You talk about the element of fatherlessness, George. I mean, wow.
Well, the problem is the SCJC doesn't hold these judges accountable.
They don't. There's no oversight. You mean
That's
you
the
can go?
problem.
We can go and complain till we're blue in the face, and their oversight committee is they're useless. They don't do anything. And my grievance on 257 Sandra Peak, it's been over 2.5 years and it's still at the SCJC. It got so bad that the legislator said, hey, y'all need to get these grievances off y'all's plate first before y'all start working on Mr. Saldana's. They said everything in the last year y'all need to clear out. And I'm talking to the SCJC and I'm like, well, what about mine? Mine was filed 2 years ago. And they said, well, the legislator said we had to do fiscal year 21, 22 first. So it pushed me further back. So there's no oversight. So and this is why us parents, there's a recording. There was a recording and probably one of those church parishioners, I don't know who sent it to me, but you hear a man's voice and she's threatening him. She says you have 5 seconds or I'm going to arrest you. And you left is that you, Dave?
That was me, yes.
So tell me about that.
All right, so when we walked in, they directed court watchers to sit at the back. I'm press, I'm not court watcher. So I move forward 2 or 3 benches and I go to sit down. As I'm sitting, she suddenly starts saying, no, 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 you. And she points right at me. And I'm like, yes, Your Honor. And I go to stand up and she's like, get out. And I'm like, Your Honor, I'm press. And she's like, nope, this is a private courtroom. This is private business. If you don't have business, you need to just leave. And I was like, well, are you asking me to leave under threat of arrest? And she said, no. So I sat back down. She then immediately snapped at me and said, get out of my courtroom. And I'm paraphrasing. But it was, I stood up and I said, again, I'm going to exercise my First Amendment right as freedom of the press to attend this as my services have been retained for this particular hearing. She said, you got 5 seconds to get out of here or I'm going to have them cuff you and detain you. I will. And she said, she actually described it as she would gladly do it. So I stood up, I put my hands up and I said, listen, I'm going to leave under threat of arrest. I will leave your courtroom. I repeated it twice as I backed out and I went outside. When we went outside, Mr. Kevin Freymeier. Sorry, names are my kryptonite. Forgive me, but he followed me out, and we started to talk. He actually helped me find the administrative office because I wasn't going to take that setting down. I ended up going to the administrative office, speaking with them. They took their sweet time, but eventually, we all walked back to the 280th. 2 out of the 3 administrators went in. The third one stayed out to monitor me to have words with the judge. Ultimately, I was allowed back in, but I was forced to power off my phone and to surrender my GoPro cam. I did both, except on my GoPro cam, I removed the SIM card of what I had already recorded in the hallway and the conversations that I had had and my discussion with the administrators. I did not have any recordings of the courtroom. When I walked in, I sat down. She told me there was no recording. She went through the basics, and where I sat was actually a bad seat. So I got up and moved a little bit so that I could see everything a little better. And she screamed at me, "You will not disrupt my courtroom anymore or I will have you thrown out." And all I was doing was moving from one bench to the other. I finished moving, sat back down. We had a little back and forth. And then the proceedings began. And there was a lot of crazy stuff that happened during the proceedings too.
Yeah, but you can't go into the merits of the case and then try to make a ruling of the case, and you don't know the very basics of the Constitution. I mean, let's wait a minute. You went to law school. You have a staff attorney. You have all those other attorneys. You have all these other judges that are your friends. You've been practicing for all of these years. Now, there's only two things that can happen. Either you're willfully doing it, you know what you're doing, right? Or I don't want to say you're dumb, but you don't comprehend that the courts should be open and open to the press.
I describe it as knowingly or unknowingly.
I don't know. I tend to say things how I learned them out in the streets. And
That's usually the best way.
And to me, that's you either know or you don't know. Which one is it? Either you're not qualified because you don't know and you shouldn't be on that bench, that you're threatening the public with arrest because they're coming to exercise their civil right to transparency of their courts. And now you're going to get the bailiffs. You're going to get a SWAT team of bailiffs to come in and threaten these people with intimidation. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 of y'all on here. And I've seen it. I've been reporting it. We've asked for their supervisors. They've put their hands on us. The bailiffs have put their hands on us. They've pushed us out of courtrooms. Some don't know I was just arrested for assault on a peace officer with bodily injury. And I simply tapped him on the shoulder, asking him for his supervisor after he assaulted me. This is getting wild in the civil courts of Harris County. And then they're destroying lives. They're taking people away, They're taking Kyle away from his daughter. They're taking Kyle away. Why? Because we have judges that are upset that we have learned to assemble and go to family court together. So we can ensure that people say, hey, look, George isn't crazy or Kyle is not crazy. That I saw it with my own eyes. We had a whole church congregation see what they did to Kyle and then see how they treated you guys. Judge Kirby owes all of y'all an apology.
Oh, I won't accept an apology. She threatened me later on in the hearing. She singled me out, and I can't remember her words exactly, but it was along the lines of, "You should be concerned about self-preservation."
Yeah,
I was like,
funny.
I was like, "Could you please explain that to me?" And she goes, "You need to
She told everybody that,
and not others." And I was like, I sat back down.
Yeah.
She reminds me of another version of Stalder.
Yeah, definitely Stalder 2.0.
Well,
yeah,
but I get it. I've been through that 280th too with Stalder, but my case is another issue. There was perjury on mine, aggravated perjury in that, and I told the judge, but Stalder was on vacation and they brought Judy Warney in. And if you do your research, Judy Warney is the liaison between the Family Law Foundation and the judges, the district court judges. So she's a player on the state level, but they make a lot of money on these protective orders, right? Everybody gets paid on these protective orders. And then you know what? A little girl doesn't have her dad this week to go to the dance.
One of the 4 cases that I'm working on, this dad has had an ankle monitor on since March of last year. They just continued his case despite him being proven innocent. All the lawyers agree, all the law enforcement agree. They've continued it to August of 2024. So he's still under house arrest. He can't go to the hospital for checkouts. He can't go shopping. He can't do anything. The only 2 things he's allowed to do under his rules or whatever it is that they call it is go to court, go to work, and emergency only. He's not even allowed to go to the hospital unless it's an emergency.
I mean, look what they're doing to parents. And I don't want to just stay on dads because it happens to moms. And I've seen where there's a few moms that are scared to go, right? But and something I noticed, and something that I've heard is, and something that I've seen a pattern of. These people that are filing protective orders are the same people going snooping on your social media to take screenshots, to take you back to court, to execute your possession and access with that child just to get you in trouble. They're messy. Don't go look for his Facebook. Don't go worry about what he's doing, right? And these attorneys, they egg it on.
Oh,
Oh.
it's an absolute economy, without question.
Yeah.
Texas alone made $500 million through Title 4D, and that money is directly tied to their retirement plan. They have a vested interest in this. I've spoken in depth with Jeff Younger about this, and I'm not sure how many people are familiar with his case, but we've got to change the financial incentive, and it's not going to change. They're just people are dug in.
It's the same thing with supervised visits. The more people we get to go to supervised visits, the more people we run through the protective order court, supervised visits, BIP classes, all of that stuff is a moneymaker for everybody outside of that case.
Yep.
And then the child loses, right? All of these people, they make money off their 501Cs, and we have this many people going to BIP classes, and they put me on supervised visits, and this is something that I'm fighting. They put me on supervised visits because my ex lied 4 times, and I called it out. That's aggravated perjury. It's a felony. Judge Linda Dunson in the 309 will not do anything about it. And again, why are you wearing a robe with a gavel in charge of people's lives, and you are not taking judicial notice on the things that matter, especially felonies? Right? All these people voted for you to put you in that place of power, in that position, and you are going to let other people pervert your own profession? Now my kid is losing. Kyle's kid is losing. Kevin's child is losing. Dave's lost a child. All for money.
Without question. That's all
Right.
it is. That's why I
ahead.
describe some of this behavior as malicious evil. There's 3 types of evil. You have malicious evil, the people who just do things because they want to hurt you. They want to destroy you. They know that, spouses, whether the male or female, they know that they no longer matter in your life, that your child does. So they use the child. Then you have abject evil, where they're just, they just do bad things because they're bad people. They're sociopaths or whatever. I don't want to diagnose anybody. I'm not saying that. And then there's the banality of evil, where you might have a good bailiff in there who might say the right things, but they're terrified to because they don't want to lose their job. And that is the big one that's permeating our culture right now, is the banality of evil, where people just don't want to speak up. Family court has taught every single man and woman who's gone through it to be afraid. They convince you that you're alone. They convince you that you've done something wrong and that you should be ashamed of it. And one of the things I'm trying to do is I'm trying to rally people together and be like, you're not alone. There's 10 million of us in family court system at any given time, give or take. There's only 44,000 judges. Some elections are won by a couple hundred votes. Some judges can be stripped right out of their courtroom. And some of them should be. What I witnessed for the first time, 14 years, I've never seen anything like that.
So let me, and some of y'all that follow me, some of y'all are like, well, I don't agree with George's aggressive tactics. And you don't have to. Nobody has to follow me. Nobody has to listen to me. Y'all can all tell me that I'm full of shit. I don't even really care, because this isn't about you. This is about my child and the children of these other parents, right? I have a mission, right? And my mission is, you cannot get a fair trial. This is it. You cannot get a fair trial if you have judicial interference. You have corruption in the background. You have backdoor deals. You won't get a fair trial. So what's the point of even trying to talk about getting a fair trial if from the very beginning you have judges that don't even understand what their courtrooms can do? Right?
Let alone the constitutional law.
Yeah, they don't even know the Constitution. Some of them don't even know their magistrates. Just because Harris County made a rule that y'all are family court judges doesn't mean that y'all can just refuse to look at felonies, can refuse to admonish perjury. We all know that everybody lies in family court, but nobody admonishes it. Nobody does anything about it. Then the lawyers lie. And the Supreme Court has already come out with an order of the Texas Lawyers Creed. It's an order mandated for professionalism. And these lawyers still violate that. And then it takes away from good parents that don't have money to keep fighting.
Instead of Texas Lawyers Creed, it should be Texas Lawyers Greed. That's what it is. Nothing but money.
Well said. Well said. That's a lot of things. If I could just chime in real quick, that's a lot of things a lot of people don't realize either. When I talk to folks, you look at criminal court, judges are allowed, discretion. And in criminal court, they're allowed about 200 instances of discretion. In family court, it's well over 3,000. That means nobody is, the only thing consistent is that none of them are consistent. You could have a white judge who hates black people. You could have a black judge who hates white people. You could have an Asian judge who hates Hispanics. It might not even be about race. It could simply be about gender or about somebody's politics or about a shirt that you wore, because you might not have a $3,000 Armani suit. You're literally.
And they shouldn't even be a judge at that point.
I agree, 100%. They're not a judge. I don't consider what I saw. I do not consider Diane a judge at all.
No, she's another rogue judge like Stalder.
Yeah, but we're seeing it not just Stalder and Curvey. We're seeing it in other courts.
Yeah, Peake, Dunson.
Dunson.
Well,
Dunson
told the court set the precedent.
The 309, Dunson told me, well, when you file in here, you give me authority. No, you don't get authority over my child. You don't get to just make decisions, parental decisions, because you're a judge. That there's nothing that gives a judge unbridled discretion to tell you how to raise your child. And then when you tell them the other parent violated the law, they look the other way. Or I specifically told Judge Dunson, somebody has put their hands on me. And you have protective order attorneys. I'll tell you that right now. There is a group in Harris County, a bunch of women that are protective order attorneys. Just like
we're looking into them. We're calling them. We're nicknaming them the TRO squad, and they're actually working with a couple of judges who we've identified.
Yeah.
So we're looking to expose them and actually break that ring up, because it's ridiculous what they're doing.
They're all
making.
Yeah. They are hired to eliminate the other parent. It's a legalization. They're weaponizing their skills, their legal skills.
And
without due process and everything else too added in there.
And if you talk up and if you sound off, we're gonna get our bailiffs and we're gonna haul your ass to jail for talking about it.
Yep.
And if you don't know your rights, if you don't know, if you don't know the law, right? There's no logic for all of these parents to go and be reading law books and assembling with other groups to learn their rights, to get their child and just beat them up. They don't understand that concept.
I think it's actually more malicious than that, because it's not just judges and lawyers who are doing this. They also have, you got CPS, you've got these group home agencies that make tens of thousands of dollars per bed filled. They want to keep these beds filled. They want to keep the money rolling in. And then we've got therapists or psychologists who do evaluations. We're looking into some of them. There's a couple of them where they are literally talking to CPS and they're like, what do you need me to put in? What do you need me to find? And they'll write a report and straw man a man or a woman in a heartbeat.
We're seeing it in Travis County. We're seeing therapists in Travis County that are writing up recommendations for a certain parent that's paying the most.
Just FYI, in Texas, Texas Ombudsman has oversight over CPS in Texas.
Well, I mean, CPS doesn't even listen to the federal government. The federal government,
they're kidnappers.
A federal judge just got mad at CPS the other day because they didn't bring the documents that the federal judge asked them to. And
they should go to jail.
Well, this federal judge did. She didn't send them. This judge the federal judge did not send them to jail, but she threatened it. There was an article on it that I posted, but you know, when again, and we can rehash this, but I'm glad that there's a recording out, because nobody believes it unless they hear it. Nobody believes how flagrant the disregard of these laws, these constitutional rights of these parents when they go in. And then there's attorneys. I understand. I get it. You don't want to rat on the judge because you're going to be working in her courtroom and you're going to see her and you have a bar license and it's taboo to be a snitch, right? Everybody will tell you there's corruption in Harris County, but nobody's reporting it on the legal side. It's all these pro se litigants. It's all these parents that are fighting to be in their children's lives. These lawyers, you had a few of them pop up, lawyers for judicial integrity, because they wanted to oust Barbara Stalder out. But where are they on the other judges? How come they're not saying, hey, these other judges are creating misconduct and we need to check them as well?
Myself and my organization actually have a meeting with them, as well as 8 local congressmen and women. That's happening, I think, within the next 6 days.
And that's what they're seeing, right? They're seeing all of these advocacy groups jumping in to help each other.
I'm grateful for whoever made that recording, because, you know, I was sitting there taking notes on my hand, and now somebody actually gets to see what was going on. I should have been able to use my GoPro, and I should have been able to record that.
Well, so, and here's my thought on it, because if you're reporting a crime, which this is a crime, I believe it's official oppression. You're in a position of power, and you are using your position of power to remove the public using your color of law, right? Under the color of law, under your constitutional rights, the very basics, right? So to me, again, you either know or you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But all of these advocacy groups are having to come together and work with these parents because they can't turn to lawyers, because lawyers won't fix it. They're just going to charge you another $5,000 to try to fix it through legal documentation. They're stealing from the public. And so when you record, I tell everybody to record. One, it's good for transcript integrity. It's good for transcript integrity because there are court reporters that are changing their record to reflect what they know the judge wants in their record.
Yep, that's going on Rhode Island right now.
We have recordings where they don't match what the transcript says. So that right there, if you are altering a government document, that's a crime within itself. So when you record and you're recording a crime, it's up to you to use that recording to turn it in for prosecution. With COVID out, with all of these cameras, these Zooms, cameras on your phones, recording devices on your phones, everybody should be utilizing it if you're fighting for your child, because these corrupt family courts, they're going to steamroll you.
They're self-serving. You know, I say this to a lot of people. If these family courts actually did their job, they would be empty. People wouldn't be, you know, you wouldn't have exes fighting. You know, a lot of the younger kids that I've talked to that have split, they don't even want to go to family court because they saw what it did to their family. And you know, that's why I'm so passionate about this and why I'm pushing so hard, because of what, you know, my personal story and what I went through. And I'm looking at it like, yeah, I've lost my daughter. And, you know, however that'll pan out over the next year or two, it will. But I'm also looking at my stepsons, who I treat like my own sons, you know, and I'm looking at them, statistically speaking, one of them is going to be going through this. And I'm going to be right back here going through this all over again when I'm 68.
Alicia,
we have to fix this now.
Let's ask Alicia. I mean, Alicia has 2 boys.
Yeah.
Right? You have 2 boys.
Yes.
This runs full circle, because you can get a woman that might be retaining the children or playing these games, she may have a son. And then if we don't fix this now, their son's going to be in this now.
Well, it's not just us that are fighting, though. The SCJC needs to have accountability to stop this.
Right.
That is that in the state bar against attorneys and the state commission against the judges. But, that only falls so far.
They're
I personally
all,
believe the SCJC should be narrowed down to 5 judges, and they should be elected, because if they answer to the public, they're more likely to actually do something about this.
Well, they're gonna complain saying we don't have enough funding and blah blah blah. They pick and choose at what cases they want, but then
exactly.
I know a whole bunch of people that files grievances with factual evidence, just like this that we had just experienced. And you know what? They're probably it's blind leading the blind.
I'll tell you right now that I recorded some of my hearings with Judge Pete. I sent them to the SCJC, and maybe that's why it's been taking 2.5 years. But nothing you write to the SCJC or the state bar is good enough for them, right? They'll use the law against you, but you can't use the law against them or their attorneys. It's a bar. It's a union. It's a fraternity. It's a sorority, and a lot of these judges, they all belong to that same sorority and from the University of Houston. And so they're all sisters. And so when you hire an attorney and they're sorority sisters with the judge, come on, man. We're talking about somebody's child's life.
It's not their kid. They don't care.
Right. It's not their kid.
It's not their bloodline. They're up here.
This is where the government needs to pass like an accountability act or something, for at least to have these judges honor their oath and respect our constitutional and civil rights in courts, which clearly it's violated every day, not just to us, but millions of people, thousands of people across the country. And they just, we don't give a shit about you. Sorry.
No, man. Child support, the amount of money that flows through Title IV-D through this country is bigger than some defense contracts. That's insane. All right. You're talking about comparing family court to Boeing or whoever it is that makes F-35s. Why is that? That's nuts. And the biggest population that's being destroyed are all the people who don't have money.
That's why I said
justice. You got to be Johnny Depp.
That's why I said they are perverting their own profession, and then they wonder why people don't like attorneys. Because at the end of the day, you can give that attorney $5,000. You could have the best case, and if that attorney is good friends with that other judge, which Rebecca Rowland, I believe, is part of that protective order team, right? All of these attorneys, they run together, and they're all protective order attorneys, and that's why I said record.
There's conflicts of interest right there, but they won't enforce that against them.
Well, that was one of the crazy things I learned about the Kyle case when I'm sitting there looking at this, and I found this out after the fact. So remember how we said therapists are part of the problem? At the end, she's kind of like snidely mocking him, saying, clearly, you need help. And when you get out, you come back and see me, and I'll get you a free therapist. And then on top of that, I also found out that this judge is arguing with him on social media. She has no business interacting with him on any level. She should have immediately recused herself.
That's a violation of a canon. That's a violation of a canon. She should have recused herself.
280th Diane Kirby's arguing with him on his social media. Like, that's ex parte communication right there. And then she's saying, you have a loose relationship with the truth. That already just says she's already ruled against you.
Yeah.
Right. And she didn't even recuse herself, but but it's not a shocker to me, because she didn't even know that it's a public courtroom and that people can come and go as they please. Right. And so at some point, people need to say, hey, look, this judge is maybe should go back to remedial lawyer school. Right.
No.
And so
no, she should be barred from practicing law.
Somebody who is this egregious needs to be stripped of their title and their degree. They cannot practice law. They cannot. I don't even want these people being a crossing guard for my kid. These people need to go ring a register at Walmart, because that's the only thing they were really cut out for.
And let me tell people right now, before it's okay to talk about your judges. It's okay, and I advocate for it. It's under your First Amendment right. It's just like talking about Joe Biden or President Trump. I don't care what political affiliation you are, but you have the right to talk about elected officials. And that's what we're doing tonight. We're using our First Amendment right, and we are talking about our government. There's no accountability. There's no transparency. These people don't want you recording because you're exposing their secrets. And now that we are assembling and we are coming together, we're being hunted.
Can I shout out to a judge?
Come on with it. That's what I got to tell them. Come on with it. Bring it on.
Can I shout out a judge?
Yeah, go ahead.
Judge Devine. He's one of the Supreme Court judges here in Texas.
Good guy.
He's one of the only ones that's actually trying to push for reform, and he's running his courts properly, and he's doing proper rulings. He is the only judge out of the Supreme Court who is being primaried because he's not going along with, he's not towing the party line. You know, we need to protect people like that. There are some good people in there.
I mean,
somebody's recording these things. There's officers who are like, look, we agree with you. They're talking on the side. You know, there are good people out there. They're just terrified. And when we find one like Devine, we have to support him. Unprecedented. The state needs to reelect him no matter what.
I mean, let's talk about the bailiffs now. So the bailiffs don't work for the judge. The bailiffs work for the county. They're there for courtroom security. We all know that because all 8 of them show up. Right? They want to put their hands on you so bad. They're like itching to do something. Come on, judge, tell me to violate him. I had 5 of them jump on me for asking the bailiff to get his supervisor, literally jumping on me. I was live. I had about 5 bailiffs jump on me, literally sandwich me, threatened to tase me because I asked to talk to their supervisor. I filed a criminal complaint. Where is it? I don't know. They want to hold us accountable to the law, but when we hold them accountable, oh no, you can't do that. You can't. They use the law as their shield and their sword.
It's almost like there's no executive or legislative branch anymore. It's just a judicial branch.
You are going into the Harris County courts to be overruled and ruled on. They're going to tell you how you are going to see your child. And that needs to stop. We need to re-educate and say, hey, look, guys, time out. You guys, Harris County, they should have Harris County Constitution Day, right? Hey, everybody, let's go over the Constitution for 3 hours for CLE. It's not a bad deal. We're bringing solutions. Hey, this is how you can fix this. We have all of these parents. You can't tell us it's just these parents. Look at Wayne Deltrafino. Wayne Deltrafino has put out a bunch of videos highlighting the corruption. And he can't do it all. And so parents are getting smart. Never go to family court by yourself. Always take a witness, always record. Just know your rights because they will violate you.
Recording is important. What I've got going on in Rhode Island right now, they will not release any of the family court public transcripts. So I can't even defend myself. I had a judge who conspired to rob me of my and my daughter's civil and constitutional rights. And they did it openly in the courtroom on the record, and they refused to give me those transcripts. I've been asking for them for 18 months now.
Well, we could say the same thing about Stalder's court, Julia Rangel. There was no transcript whatsoever in my court. None.
None.
Well, hey guys, it's been about an hour.
Okay.
Chev, you have anything else you want to add before we start closing up?
No, man, I appreciate you inviting me to talk about our friend, man. I challenge everybody that's listening to consider the injustice and hold Kyle in your prayers. We haven't talked much about the other side of this carceral stay, and that's, you know, what he's seen and the risk at hand. You know what I mean? Like we know that Harris County Jail, you know, is a death house, and you know, if he doesn't come back to us, the blood is on so many hands. Like you said, you've got these legal professionals that too have an obligation. And how do we get these legal professionals to maintain the checks and balances? You know what I mean? We can't do that. We can't do that, like you say, through the complaint system. I mean, you know, statutory means don't work, but who's taking federal crimes? You know, like these are federal crimes. These are federal violations. I mean,
there's
42,
you
42
can't,
USC 1983.
I mean, that's what we're going to have to do is go federal, because you can legislate laws, but if these judges aren't enforcing the laws, then what's the point of even legislating laws? It's a big circle, right?
it's funny you say that, George, because not to cut your wisdom, not to get in front of you, Dave. I'm just talking to Elizabeth Campos the other day, and she's saying how she has filed like 18 bills, and I'm like, cool. What about in justice reform? What about in the courts? How are you getting Jeff Gonzalez to maintain an exculpatory evidence agreement in his office? What kind of bills are you filing? Because we lose a lot of people in that advocacy to policy path too. They forget the experiences that we're talking about right now. And man, again, if Kyle doesn't come back to us, or let's say, you know, he comes back to us with a harder heart, you know, a different spirit. It's all because the judge failed to maintain the basic elements of her oath. You know what I mean? That shit is ridiculous, man. It's in Taylor County and Abilene. It's absolutely in Austin. I can tell you the judges. Judge Jennifer Pena and Delia Meza in Bexar County, in the criminal court. You know, everybody is getting paid for closing out these orders, and it's an absolute violation of the Ninth Amendment. It's an absolute violation of the 10th Amendment. These folks are supposed to know their constitutional restrictions.
Well, yeah, and then the 14th Amendment, you know, that we all should be treated equally under the law. You know,
Due process.
if the judges isn't following the law, and the petitioner can lie on the record, then what the hell am I even going to court for? If you're going to be that degenerate about your profession, then why do I even want to do business with the court? You know, you're lying, they're lying, nobody's admonishing, there's no oversight. It's all a circus.
And this is what I would recommend to everybody: record everything, because you will not get anything from the courts. You got to do it yourself to hold them accountable.
I appreciate you guys.
I can tell you, if I could just close with one more thing, I could tell you a fix. You want to fix this? I only have a high school degree. All right. I speak legalese. We got to teach everybody to go pro se. You see 40-50% of the population start representing itself. That's going to negatively impact the pockets of all of these lawyers, and they're going to have to make a decision. Either become paupers or step up to the plate and do their damn job.
No, I agree.
But then they'll still get their money from all the other programs out there.
Yeah. We could talk about this all night. I know we got a really good bunch of group, real big. Sorry, we got a real great group of individuals behind Kyle right now. And just to give you a little bit of an update, not a spoiler because there's still things working in the background. We have talked to Kyle. He's in good spirits. You know, we are working and shaking some trees in the background. And we're going to have some updates throughout the week. And we ask that you share this stuff. Share the content. We want these judges to see this because they need to know who and how they're hurting us. They're not just hurting us as individuals. They're hurting our children, not their children. Somebody's daughter is going to a father-daughter dance this week without their dad.
I don't even know that she will. Mom
Yeah,
wants
so-
this guy deleted from his life. Why even bother entertaining a father-daughter dance? Start
Yes.
phasing out dad right now.
And that's what they're doing.
That's not gonna happen.
Oh, I
No,
know.
it's,
I know.
it's not
I'm
going to
behind.
happen. There's a lot of us behind Kyle.
Yeah.
He's been behind me when I was locked up, and we're gonna continue to push.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't saying black pill. I was
Oh.
simply saying that's
No, no.
an individual's possible,
That's what
choice.
she's trying to do.
That
Right. And
they're
and
trying to
There's-
delete
yeah.
people.
and that's what the parents are. It's a control tactic. These protective order attorneys turn it around on you. They turned it around on me when I called the police because I don't want people touching me. I don't want people hitting me. I'm an adult. Keep your hands to yourself. If you hit me, I'm going to call the police because I can't hit you, because even if I look at you wrong, you're going to go get a protective order. But no,
Well,
they
another thing is a loophole for them would be the good faith clause. They allow them to lie.
Yeah.
no, you're right.
mean-
But hey, guys, let's get off. It's been a little over an hour. I appreciate it. We can do it again. Those that are watching, I appreciate watching. Please share. Let's keep doing this for Kyle. Let's get the word out. I'm sure, and I just want to put this online right now because sooner or later they're going to come for me. So take what you can from me and you use it. Again, if you want to follow. If you don't, I got plenty of work to do. But hey, guys, I appreciate you. Alicia, is there anything else you want to say? We'll let you close out.
You should talk to Kyle, say something to him. He might see this. He might be able to get access to a computer.
Don't worry, we're gonna get you out as soon as we can. We're working on it. I love you.
We're not going to stop. He's not
No.
going to be in there for 6 months, and the new stunt they're pulling isn't going to work. And the people are coming together. And again, 44,000 judges nationwide against 10 to 12 million people. Almost all of them are law-abiding citizens.
Yeah.
And it's just ridiculous what's being done. So I want to thank personally Mr. Auditor there, whose name I forget. Remember names of my kryptonite. You showing
Chev?
up.
Chev?
You-
Chev.
You were lit. So I really appreciate you showing in because you took a little heat off me.
Well,
Well,
I
gotta
appreciate-
say this.
Go ahead.
I'll say this to everybody: stay blessed and grateful, and stand up for your rights.
Amen.
Hey guys, I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Thanks for taking care of my boy because I couldn't make it. We'll do it again. Please share. We got to do this for Kyle. Thank you guys and good night.
Good night.